Our next president is Gerald R. Ford. He's the guy that took over after Nixon. Okay. Immediately after taking office, President Ford forgave Nixon. He gave Nixon a pardon, and this immediately ruined his credibility with the American people. They thought that he was a crook. They thought that him and Nixon had made a deal. You know, if you pardon me, I'll let you be president, that kind of thing. And so Ford doesn't get much done, and he's only a one-term president. He's only going to be president for about 2 years. So that is exactly what destroyed his credibility with the American people and made him a very ineffective president. Let's see. He then granted general amnesty to everyone who sought to dodge the draft during the Vietnam War. So he forgave all those people that had moved to Canada, moved to Mexico, or didn't actually follow through when they were drafted. They were just basically sent to prison in some cases, but Ford gave them all forgiveness, and that was probably one of the best things that he did, or one of the most important things he did during this time. All right, question 56. What was unique about Gerald Ford's rise to the presidency after the resignation of President Nixon? Well, if you remember from before, Nixon had to appoint a new vice president, Gerald Ford, okay? Because his old vice president, Spiro Agnew, had gotten in trouble with the law because he lied on his income tax returns. And so this makes Gerald Ford the only president in all of American history that was never actually elected by the people. Okay, so which one says that? Let's see. Presidency. Okay, no, letter D. Okay, this is the correct answer right here. All right. Ford had not been elected by the people to serve as either the president or the vice president. That's what makes him unique out of everybody there. Okay. During his economy, we had the stagflation. Stagflation is low economic growth with high inflation, and it continued to be a major economic problem into the future after that. That President Ford seeks to address with a voluntary program to lower consumption. This proved to be a major failure. So he tried very nicely to ask people to actually use less gasoline. Turn off the lights whenever you leave your house, so it will lower the electricity bills for everybody. And the less people use electricity, the cheaper it becomes because it's more readily available. Okay. During this time, we have the women's rights movement. Okay. Right there. The Civil Rights Act of '64 had made it illegal for employees to discriminate on the basis of gender. So you can't stop somebody from getting a job because of their sex. Okay. This in turn helps to spark a women's rights movement. And one of the major moments of the women's rights movement is Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade basically said that a woman has the right to privacy in the matter of abortion. That if she was going to get an abortion, she does not have to actually tell her husband. She doesn't have to tell her father. She only has to consult a doctor. Again, a woman's right to privacy is what it's all about. Okay. There was a lady named Betty Friedman who wrote a book called The Feminine Mystique, and she becomes the leader of NOW, okay, the National Organization of Women, which actively campaigns for women's rights and gender equality. She's going to be in a question later on. Just remember that Betty Friedman is writing about women and women's issues, okay? The Equal Rights Amendment is championed by NOW. We just learned what that is, National Organization of Women. But it is eventually defeated by women who do not want to lose their entitlements that they possess under the old system. So these women were getting stuff for free from the federal government, and this would have ended that, so they basically defeated their own bill. All right. During the 1960s and 70s, an increasing number of authors began writing about the country's various social issues. On what issue did writers Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem focus? Okay. Well, look, y'all, you don't have to be a rocket science to figure this one out. Okay. Even if you know nothing, you can figure this out. It's the 60s and 70s. Okay. That's the hippie era. We got two ladies, Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem. What social issues do you think they were writing about? Okay? And out of all the ones that are there, gender equality is going to be the only one that's the correct choice. The other ones just basically aren't an issue at the time. If it was today, it would probably be like trans rights or stuff like that, you know. But for the 60s and 70s, transgender wasn't really a thing. We only had two genders, okay, for a long time, for all of human history until recently. So I don't know what happened there, but anyway. All right, that's it for President Ford.